Training 101. Tonight, I think, will prove beneficial and fruitful for everybody that participates, and even those who capture this later but are willing to engage themselves in the process. Hello, Alex. Hi, Michael. So tonight is a pivotal evening for some of you, and an important step nonetheless for everybody, including myself. There is this thing called trust. Trust in ourselves, trust in that which you do not see with your eyes or hear with your ears, but nonetheless we know that it exists. And as you begin to unfold your skills and your abilities to transmit and receive information from other dimensions, as you continue to do that, hi Heidi, you gain more and more trust in your ability to do so. They will start guiding you as you start to become a true student in that sense of the words. Hi Philome. As you become, hi Alex, as you become a true student of divine guidance, whether it's from Jesus or God or your higher self or the Pleiadians or whomever it is that you come into communion with, the repeated exposure builds that trust. For example, today, I just trust now. Today, when I created the event for this earlier, when they told me you've got to do this and this is what you're going to call it and you're going to start it at this time, you can go back over the last couple of years of courses we've done, and you won't find any time where I've ever started at 9:15 or any quarter hour. It's usually always on the hour or the half hour. And I didn't question why that would be. I just said, okay, no worries. And that, as you know, Norma ran a few minutes late, and so it worked out perfectly that everybody else could also piggyback on that and go a little bit later if they needed to. You can't plan that stuff, but they know this stuff. Now, when you were a child, when you were first born and you were completely taken care of by your environment, by your family, your parents, your friends, everybody took care of you, you felt safe, and then you got to crawling, and then you got to walking. You had this state of consciousness called fearlessness and knowing. And this fearlessness and knowing that we are all born with. Fearlessness and knowing. And you would run around, and your parents would have to stop you from running out in front of the cars, and they'd have to stop you from doing this, and they'd have to stop you from doing that. You just had no fear. You had no awareness of the dangers of the world. And yet here we are now in a place in your life where we're saying to you, it's okay to be fearless. This is the time for you to become fearless. But this is reasoned out fearlessness. This is a place of consciousness. Yeah, just a second. They're banging it back at me right now because I want to get into this. That place of fearlessness that you're going into now is the reverse of what was done to you as a child, where you were forced to become afraid of the very things everybody else was afraid of. And now you're learning how to be unafraid of that which you are currently afraid of. And it's the reverse. And the difference is you get to do it this time. You get to consciously decide to release the fear. You get to consciously decide how and when you're going to release that fear. And you do it by what you're doing, by getting the experience, by getting the practice. And I want to say that all of you guys are stepping up to the best of your ability. And even if you're just still at the stage where you're just watching, at least you're on the periphery. You're not hiding somewhere and didn't run off. Even a step is a step is a step, and each of us has our own unique positioning in the process. They're saying that, you don't have the fear in and of yourself. This is just something that you have acquired. And it is something must be ready to let go of. We cannot make you let go of this, nor would we ever try to make you do anything. It would be impossible and a violation of the law as we understand it to be. But your willingness to let go by taking steps, even these baby steps, enables you to build that inner trust with your own innate knowing. There's much of your consciousness that is still enwrapped in a finite personality, and the process you're engaged in is stepping outside the bounds of that finite personality, the confines of a belief system that identifies you as just a physical body or an individualized consciousness, a mind, a name. And as you step into the unknown, those familiar things create an illusion of security that no longer applies to you. The illusion of security begins to fall away as you start to listen and express and connect with each other, with your divine team. And we are with you to do this. We are with you to stream through whatever you're willing to allow to flow into your beingness, and whatever you're willing to allow to flow out from your beingness. This willingness, the steps through the uncertainty, are no different than a child learning to take its first steps. Even though it may have fallen and hurt itself, it gets up and it walks forward, knowing unknowingly that it will walk. And you are unknowingly knowing that you can walk. And there is a distinction and an advantage to that consciousness. For you know that if you continue to do something, certain results will occur. Whereas with a child, it depends upon the knowingness of the parents. And so we kind of play that role with you, in that we know that you are capable of that which you are seeking to aspire yourself to becoming and being. And so we will continue to encourage you and inspire you to step forward. Even though you may get information that to your mind seems uncertain, or why is it there? Or what am I getting this for? Why is this picture coming in? Why do I want to say these words? And as you learn to trust that those things are not necessarily for you, but for the person to whom the message is being delivered, and from whom that person is receiving the message. And as you learn to articulate your trust consciously and deliberately, you will find three things that will happen. You'll begin to feel at ease. You'll begin to have access to ideas and information that previously you were blocked off from because of your limitations in regards to being a finite consciousness. As you unravel your attachment to your finite nature, the infinite opens up to you, as it has opened up to all of us already, and in reality it can never be closed to you. But the door that is meant to be opened, on which you should knock, you are knocking. And so it is time for you to trust this. Trust in yourself and in us to be with you. There is an element of uncertainty that goes with any new endeavor on any plane of consciousness where information, experience are not familiar to the consciousness engaging it. And so we encourage each and every one of you to move gently through that process, or if you need to, bulldoze your way through. You must build trust in yourself. The trust with us, between you and us, is already established at our end. You must now establish it at your end, and you are in the process of doing that, block by block, piece by piece, word by word, trust by trust. It is not just given, it is created, or in your case, recreated, for we already know this to be true. But as you allow yourself to articulate your trust in the expression of your being, you will find that there's a level of joy and, dare we say, ecstasy and bliss that will unravel from the nature of your heart. When we ask you to place your hand on your heart, we do so for a very good reason, that there is an intention behind all actions, a meaning behind all actions. And when you connect to your heart, though you may think it's the physical heart that is beating in your chest, in actuality, it is the core center point in your physical body where your soul, higher self, resides, and which you connect to. You can feel it. You can feel that, which is why you are finding the information getting easier and easier. And be patient. We urge you to be patient with each other. Some of you may be able to receive much quicker. Be patient. Be patient. Some may need a minute. Some may need even 2 minutes to get just a single word. But each individual has their own unique process. Every flower on the rose bush does not flower at the same time, and neither flower would judge the other for that process that the other is in. And so they sit in harmony on the branches of the bush, each being their own way, but recognizing they are together. And so this is similar in this process, where you begin to articulate the expression of your own expression and learn to engage a trust, which leads to love, which leads to creativity, which leads to transformation in your physical, spiritual, and mental bodies. We are not inclined to waste time because we don't have time to waste. And by that we mean that you are bound by this thing that you call time, but you shall find soon that as you move into this trust of consciousness, this trust of your own being, which is non-physical, time will have less meaning for you and will be more of a resource in terms of creating certain outcomes, which will of necessity unfold, regardless of your fears and uncertainty. The transmission of the energies and ideas that we are putting out to all of you at all points of time and space, especially those of you who are consciously and actively engaged in the articulation of your higher self through a physical medium of expression, particularly you, shall know the truth of the liberation that comes, the joy that comes from being who you are. Soon you will know that this mechanism in which you find yourself is just that. It's just a toy that you play through. It's interesting that they're saying this because I was walking with Norma Jean to a place where she works, and as we're going down the street, all of a sudden they said to me, "Everybody's in a costume." And I started laughing. I turned to Norma and I said, "I just realized we're all in costumes here." And I just couldn't stop laughing for a moment. And we are. You are. What that body you're in is a costume. It is an elaborate costume, mind you, but it is a costume. And what the costume might be tight in some places. You might have to refit it, and that's what your ego is. It's a costume, a construct of ideas and thoughts that that are embedded in our minds from our childhood. And they're saying that these constructs can be let go of as you begin to recognize and identify the self of yourself beyond the thoughts, beyond the form, but still able to work through both, but more effectively so from the perspective of it's like the word they're using is like oneness. The perspective of, I'll just say unity, because that's the only word that I can get. The word they're saying is a very broad but specific concept. It's paradoxical in my mind, but it's like all as one, but one as all, kind of like that. That's the I'm paraphrasing. The recognition of where you are, and all of you have been stepping up at various levels that you're ready to step up to, and there are different ways in which you can pair together to become even more effective. And the process you're using, as I've observed, has been exactly the step that was needed to make you move this way. In the 102 course, there are going to be people at different levels than you are again, for there will be some new people coming into the 102 course that are going to be at slightly different levels. So you'll get a chance to articulate the difference in your experience relative to other people's, and vice versa, where the goal of our program is not merely to just teach you how to connect your team and your channel and articulate your purpose, but it's to make you very cognizant and aware of the limitlessness of your being, and to put you in a position where you may enable others to liberate themselves from the costume of who they've been conditioned to think they're supposed to be. And what could be more delightful than that? You look at children when they're playing free and abandoned, and we look at them and go, "Oh, look at the energy on that child. Look at this." We're so in awe of the freedom of these little children. But the same is true for us when we are free from these mechanisms determining what we're going to do and how we're going to be. When we're free from the thoughts and ideas that would restrict and limit us, we are free to enable others to be and do the same by the mere fact of our energy. You cannot deny this, that when you take a glass of water, and put it in the freezer, it will freeze. And you cannot deny that if you take that frozen glass of water and put it out in room temperature, that glass will thaw. Well, your vibration, whether that vibration is love or fear or doubt, all states generate a frequency, and that frequency radiates out from your body. And over the coming weeks, you're going to be hearing more and more on the science of energy and consciousness, which will help you build an internal platform that your mind will recognize as the plain, simple truth that these things occur. And so your vibration, as you cultivate it, acts as a wave of energy that goes out and expresses itself with whatever it comes into contact with. And one of the things I'm going to suggest you consider doing, which I've already started doing because I think it was mentioned before, they said to me this morning, sit down in front of that store for 20 minutes and create a field of love that covers the entire intersection that you're looking at. And so for 20 minutes this morning, I sat and moved into a state of love and just expanded it out. I didn't get into my normal posturing when I'm utilizing energy, but I moved into that state. And when I was there was noise and people are hurrying back and forth to work, and you can see the looks on the, gotta get there. You can see all the anxiety, and I took note of how things were at the starting point, and I set a timer for 20 minutes because they said set a timer and note some of the things that happen, because the next days that you do this, you'll understand. So I sat and in that state of love and grace, as I'm feeling the interconnectivity between all the moving parts. It was very fascinating to watch. Suddenly people, as I moved into this feeling of love and joy, and expanded it out, people began to sit down around me that started laughing and talking jovially, right? And there was this one elderly couple that sat down and because you have to understand that your energy, when you learn how to utilize it effectively, especially from source, you get to influence time, space, and matter, and including other people into different states of being, whether they're conscious of that or not. This is the difference between leaders and followers. Leaders know how to use their energy, followers don't. And in that process, you can induce a state of joy, or you can induce a state of fear, you can induce a state of bliss in actual time, space events. Even if a situation is where an event is very uncertain or fearful or anything negative, if you move into a state of love and grace and are able to hold that for a few seconds, you'll create a shift in that event. Just the same way as the cold will induce ice into the water. Your vibration, your emotional state is inducing the experiences in people around you. You can test this. 20 minutes a day, set your timer. So I watched at different points throughout that 20 minutes what happened at 5 minutes, what happened at 10 minutes, what happened at 15, what happened at 20, and as I began to benchmark that, and the timer ran out, and I was ready to go upstairs, and I said, no, sit and do it again. So I did. I sat for another 20 minutes, and I did that again. And at each interval, a higher level of what happened before happened at almost the exact same time frame. And so I asked Metatron, I said, why is it happening that way? And he said, it's mathematically effective. Energy, when you understand how it works, is mathematically precise in how it alters the geometric configurations of energy moving from one point of time and space through to another, which kind of fascinated me. That even though I was doing the same thing the second time around, the intensity had increased, so the effects became more pronounced, but with the same rhythmic level of timing. Why are we going into all this? They're saying we're going into all of this so that we begin to prepare you vibrationally for what is to come. For the ability to communicate with us is but one small part of the process that you are here to learn. There are other elements in terms of your effectiveness as a creator on this dimension to manifest your purpose, to alter the reality as you know it, consciously and deliberately, so that you're liberated from the limited belief systems you've acquired from your past. Yes, we will. They're saying that we're going to do a short meditation in about 4.5 minutes. But on what they've said so far, they want you to put your questions down there on what has been said so far. They're saying, other than having to listen to this again to understand what we're saying, we can use information very specifically so that you as an individual can acquire the specific details that you need to comprehend and anchor in this information into your biology. Lori, yes, that's a great thing to do, Lori. And yeah, we do this all the time. It's just that whether or not we're aware of it. I work at being aware of it. Norma works at being aware of it. There are beings that work at being aware of it. Tony Robbins, Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Joan of Arc, Jesus, Buddha, you name any of the enlightened ones, and they know deliberately and intentionally what a thought will do, what a feeling will do, what a word can do. They know the power of shifting energy deliberately and intentionally, and that's what being a creator is. Being a creator is to know how to deliberately and intentionally shift and alter energy, whether it's in physical time or space or non-physical time or space. Energy is energy universally, but it operates at different rates of frequency and vibration on different levels of dimensionality. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 30, whether you're 30 dimensions up or 30 dimensions below. The process of energy is universal. The way it works is universal. The only thing that differs is the degree and intensity and results. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like this. I feel like they're just walking me back and forth here. Woo! Thank you. What is it on? I'm just asking what this meditation is on. They're saying it is about self-trust, because that is where you need to start. In your higher awareness of your being, you have absolute trust in your abilities. It is only in what you have been hand-fed while in the physical form in which you find yourself that you were given any doubt at all. It was learned. It was not something you chose. It was learned. And you had no choice but to accept it because you could not question it, because you came into this dimension in a state of absolute trust. And why would you doubt or fear anything if you're in absolute trust? But we say that at this point in your consciousness, you must now learn to use discernment so that you can know what to allow into the temple and what to allow out of your temple. For each of those things has a different effect and a different result. Are you asking me, William, or are you asking them? Because they're saying they can expand their energy as far as they choose because they aren't bound by the same rules of time and space. They don't have the same confines as a physical body or physical mind. They can basically expand themselves out as far as they need to. Myself, I can go out pretty far. Let's just say I can go out pretty far from this localized point of consciousness. Because remember, this isn't who I am. This is just a localized point for my consciousness to function in this dimension. Just as the body you're in is the localized point of consciousness through which you focus your expression as an individual. But in truth, every one of us has a limitlessness to our capabilities and what we can actually do. You're already in that process, and all of you are in that process. You're releasing a lot of doubt and uncertainty by walking through the steps that you're walking through. And I know that some of you are feeling like you're not getting anything, or do I believe this is true? But that's just a step. It's a part of the process. It's like the child is standing up on his feet and is wobbling back and forth, and the parents are saying, "Come on, step forward, step forward." And the child's kind of like, "Oh, I might fall. Oh, I'm not sure about that. You really want me to step forward? Come on, come on, come on, come on. We can do it. Yeah, come on, come on. Oh, I don't know. Come on, come on, come on, come on." And the parents' voices go up, and the child steps forward, and as the baby's about to fall, the parents grab the hand, and it's a very similar process. I mean, that's the closest. Sorry. They're just showing me sometimes the kid falls, but he has to get back up again. Yeah, I know I have to say that, right? Yeah. So yeah, you're in that process because you're learning. You have to let go of the belief that you're separate from your team, that you're separate from God, that you're separate from Buddha, that you're separate from all that is. And as you release that fear by allowing yourself to connect, because I've been watching you guys, and you're all doing awesome, and you're all at your own level of uncertainty, and you're all at your own level of certainty. So you're in that process of learning how to manage that energy. But it's hard. It's hard to manage energy if you're afraid. It's like giving a kid. I remember the very first time I fired off a .303 rifle when I was 7 years old, and my foster brother then. I don't use guns now. I haven't touched one in ages. And I remember he put it to my shoulder, showed me how to hold it and everything, and I'd never fired a gun in my life at that point. And when I fired the gun, it kicked back and almost flew out of my shoulder. I had no idea, and I was terrified that this thing had just done this, right? I had no idea. And he never told me. So if he had told me, you got to brace your shoulder and lean forward a bit, and don't make your shoulder too hard, but don't make it too loose either. And it's going to do this. And then might have been a different thing. I would have had different information to work on. So we're making certain that you guys have all the right information and experience to step beyond the limitations of what you've been taught. So allowing is really important here. Really allowing. The physical body. Yes. The energy of the physical body, I can extend it out about 16 feet in all directions. And when I feel it reaching out that far, I start to breathe up through my root chakra and up through my crown, and I deliberately form and synchronize my energy to the configurations of a toroidal field until I feel that flow moving through the whole system equally. At that point, I can expand it out further. When I feel the congruence, the full signal, I can expand it out further than that. So I'd say, but right now, 13 to 16 feet solid, where I can actually feel it. And I can actually sit back and watch people when they walk through it, depending on the emotional quality. If I'm putting laughter into it, when somebody walks through it, they'll often turn and look at me and smile, right? So it depends. Your field and everybody's field, when you pass somebody by, your field overlaps with theirs, and you get hit from them and they get a hit from you. If you're at a higher frequency, if you're in a higher state of joy, and they're at a low state of sadness or depression, you might feel a slight bump down, but they'll feel a bigger bump up, because energy always flows from the higher to the lower potential, right? But with what you're learning, you can deliberately expand and increase the way you feel love and joy. Yeah, I know. We're going to take a couple more questions. I'm going to do this short little meditation. Hi, Tara. Entrainment. Somebody's using the term entrainment. It's more like a retrainment of the conditions of this form. It's been taught to think it walks and talks and eats and stands and talks and speaks and smiles and laughs a certain way all the time, which is very static. But your soul has a level of expression and dynamic through the body. I mean, you look at a guy like Robin Williams, and I work with Robin Williams, so I've worked with him in person, and he's an amazing being. And there was no restriction, no governors on his soul expression through the form, and we all naturally have that capability. But most of us have been given belief systems that have acted as chains, binding that natural liberty that we all are based in intentionally. Okay, so can you, okay, so the meditation is a short process for enabling you to truly connect to the essence of freedom. They're saying the feeling of freedom. They're saying the feeling of freedom that you all have experienced and all know and can access, and we will walk you through that now. But in that place of freedom is the trust that you want to bring down into the consciousness of your body, so it will enable your form to express more fluidly that which is you. Right? So everybody get a little bit comfortable right now, and just let yourself center into the present moment. Just give yourself permission to center into the present moment. Yes, Lori, as for distant healing, what most people don't realize about distant healing is there is no distant. The minute you form an intention to heal someone, your consciousness, your beingness is there instantaneously. When you make the connection, when you make a conscious connection of that truth, knowing that your presence at any point in time and space is not determined by your body, but by your awareness, then there is no distance in the practice of healing. Yep. I just read the rest of your question, Lori, and I think they answered it. Okay, so everybody get comfortable and take a slow, deep breath. Let's get ourselves really bring yourself deliciously into the moment. Like there is nothing else but this moment for you right now. Let's go into that place together. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, bring yourself into this moment. Breathe yourself into the moment again. And as you exhale, center yourself completely into this moment. And take a moment to give your body permission to completely relax. Let every muscle in your physical body relax. Breathe deeply. And as you exhale, let all the muscles in your body relax. Allow your body to relax more. Allow it to relax even more. Now turn your attention to the thoughts in your mind. and give those thoughts permission to relax. Breathe deeply and exhale all the thoughts out of your mind. Again, breathe deeply. And as you exhale, exhale all the remaining thoughts from your mind. Feel the stillness. Feel stillness. The stillness is you. How does the stillness feel? As the stillness, how do you feel? Allow the stillness to expand as you breathe in. And as you exhale, expand yourself further. Take a moment to assign a word to your expanded feeling. A word that accurately represents it. And now make this statement with that word. I am and your word. And speak that out aloud 3 times. Notice what you feel after each time you say those words. And repeat them 3 more times. Sink into the vibration of the feeling. Become that feeling. Does this feeling make you feel more expanded and free? Does this feeling make you feel strong and grounded? Is this feeling closer to who you know yourself to really be? Breathe the feeling into the cells of your body. And as you exhale, move that feeling into the marrow of your bones. And as you exhale, expand the feeling out as far as you can. Love is what you are. Are you in a fearless state? Feel it. Feel the fearless state. And from this feeling, call on us. Feel our presence. Sense each other. Sense how the space around you is responding. Know that this is one of many different degrees of feeling that you are capable of generating and being. Love is what you are. From this feeling place, you can hear differently. You can see differently. And that is good. This statement, let thine eye be single, and thy whole body shall fill with light, is the recognition that you are not fragmented, but a unified whole of love. We deeply honor and respect your being and its natural way of unfolding as you grow. Together, take a slow, deep breath and breathe the entire experience into your heart. And as you exhale, exhale it out as far as it can go. And then breathe it back in again. Center your consciousness into this present moment now of being that you are now. You own it in your biology by allowing yourself to feel it. You incorporate it into your body as you allow yourself to feel it. And then it becomes expressed in the fabric of experience that you have in this world. Take a deep breath one more time. And bring yourself into this present moment. Allow yourself to feel it fully in the moment. Bring yourself present now. And when you're ready, gently open your eyes. Notice how the cells in your body are vibrating differently now than when prior to starting. Notice the difference in the space, the energy around your body from prior to before. Just allow yourself to own that. And just think the thought, thank you. Think that thought into the feeling you have right now. Thank you. Feel how the space in your body and around your body responds now when you speak or think those words. Thank you. So they're saying that the question has arisen, how does this enable me to trust myself more? And their answer to that question is, if you have allowed yourself to be free of your thought and free of the confines of your identification with your form, that is the greatest trust that you can give yourself, to know that you still exist beyond the structures that you know so well. Trust is being willing to step into that which you do not know, but in stepping in, knowing that you will always come back. You'll always come back with more. Yeah. I'm hearing, in the back of my mind, I'm hearing that commercial. They always come back for more. And that's what they're saying. They're saying they always come back for more. When beings step into our dimensions with us, they always come back for more, because naturally, where we all resonate as one. We encourage you to use these frequencies, these vibrations that you have now. Remember them. Bring them forth into your practices. with each other. You can even sit in them and radiate them out to others. For your mind will still need evidence where your soul knows. But your mind will need evidence, and so find opportunities to emit this vibration towards others without any form of overt activity, and observe how that vibration changes the beings that are around you. Okay. I'm going to say to you as well, when we get into the 102 course, you'll be required to keep a journal. Continue that journaling process of writing down evidence of events that happen, because your brain, your physical brain, needs evidence. You know, your ego, personality needs evidence. Yeah, that's really true. Why do you say that's true? What, you mean people can fly? Something heavier than air can fly? When people saw it, then they believed it. So it's important that you have a device that you entrain your mind. Oh, yes, I was meditating for 2 minutes on the subway and somebody beside me was upset and they suddenly started laughing. You want to give yourself that awareness so that this thing that you're in, this pre-programmed device, can be programmed by you and you not being programmed by it anymore. Yes, we will. Questions? Any questions or concerns? I love that, Tara. That's beautiful. Tara is requesting a message. There's this vibration that they're transmitting from me to you, Tara. It's a vibration like warmed wax, like warm wax. It's fluid but soothing. They're saying allow yourself to bask, allow yourself to be covered in this vibration. It is something that you have been capable of doing for a long time, but it's important to ingrain it more deeply into the form where that feeling enables you to not separate from it ever again, to remain in unity with that. I know I'm using the words wax, but it's for something, a substance that they're saying I may use love, I may use trust, I may use peace, but these are just words for that which you now feel and can now become. The sheer willingness you have to allow yourself to feel that will of necessity cause it to be incorporated into your incorporated is not the right word, is it? United consciously in form with that which you are in essence. I'm not sure how that might apply to you. Well, they're saying you're welcome, Lori. They were more than glad to do that, and you had requested that earlier, they said. Patricia, they're saying it is just the beginning. You cannot start a big fire with but a single spark. It is important that you get the sparks going consistently, uh, and then they can cause the flame, and then you can add to it. But they're saying you're just starting sparks now. You're just beginning. Um, they're saying try not to jump ahead of yourself because you can't anyway. Funny, we all try to do that too, don't we? Um, um, Ideally, they're saying, ideally, this is something that you are. It is not something you have to do to be. You already are this. But from the perspective of what you call the practice, which is learning to remember that this is what you already are, then we would recommend you practice it as often as you can remind yourself to do so. Your willingness to feel the essence of your own being while you're still in that physical form is not only a miracle, but it is a natural phenomenon that you came here to manifest. Most people never get beyond recognizing their own little name as being their identity while they're in these bodies. You have afforded the opportunity to fully blossom into that which you are while in a physical body. It is the feeling that is you, that you need to practice being that which you already are is almost ludicrous. But in reality, you have to train your physical body and your mind to be that which you are, for they were trained to be that which you are not. And now you're in the process of undoing that doing. Anita. They're laughing, Anita. They're saying, dear one, my dear one, why do you choose to hold on to those little strands of uncertainty, holding on to this belief that you do not know that which you do know? They're saying, question not that which you experience, but rather express the highest possible sense of your goodness that you can towards yourself and others. Why do you say that? There's like a whole bunch of them talking at once here. Like us, they all have their take on. They have a different piece of your puzzle from their perspective. But they're saying now it still all boils down to the same: your willingness to enable yourself to ask yourself those questions and hear the answer that you have of that which you asked. What message would you give to yourself if you were standing in front of that body that you call your personality? What message would you give to her? This is what we would suggest to you as a consideration for eliminating the misperception as to what side of the equation of creative process that you're on. For you have yourself bound into the form, and yet you wish to be unbound from the form. So you must convey to it that which you wish it to be, and not try to seek that which you are from the position of it. They're saying it being your physical body. That is not the perspective of who you truly are, just the vehicle through which you can express Yeah, I had no idea. Um, they're saying it is time you ask yourself and listen to how you answer. Ask yourself, Lori, and listen, for you have the answer. You just told us what you were doing, and what he experienced was an effect of that doing. Alex, wow. Wow, Alex, I got Archangel Michael here, and he's saying, stop trying to be so in control of your process. You are not a process, you are a being. It is time to stop trying to process yourself and start being yourself. Um, he's saying that uh, he's saying you got a mind that likes to know all the details of things in order to understand them, and what you need to most effectively do to sort through those details more effectively and divinely is to approach your concerns more from your feeling place than your thinking place. For your feeling place would give you a perspective on how to approach the considerations you are approaching from a different angle than you're they're saying habitually used to approaching them. Wow, how are we doing on time, guys? Wow, exactly an hour and 3 minutes. They're telling me I have to take one more question. I don't know who's got a question. I think we got them all, Chief. Anita, they're saying change the your phraseology of "I need to work on this" to "I want to work on this." Um, it will be. They're saying it'll be a subtle shift in the fulfillment of the desire, uh, in the desire being fulfilled. That wanting versus needing. They're saying, well, for you, it'll make a slight energetic shift on that being fulfilled. I can't remember the line they said before that, so you have to watch the replay. So anyway, guys, girls, we got the 102 coming up on Sunday. I'm so looking forward to it. We're going to have we got a handful of new people, and a bunch of you guys are coming. It's going to be amazing because we're going to get into the actual meditative process and training you guys to meditate in a very precise and specific way so that you have one more effective means of being able to fully actualize the capabilities that you already have. You know, they laugh at me when you don't have to actualize anything, you already are it. And they go, but we do know that you buy into this illusion and you've got to figure out a way to realize you're not an illusion. So we'll help create these techniques so that you can realize that you're not the illusion, that you already aren't. On that note, everybody, thank you for showing up. Thank you for taking the time for this. I know you always have busy schedules as well. Much love to all of you. From my team to your team, from JC and Archangel Michael, from all of us, much love. It is our joy to serve.